Hi, my name is Ali Duplessis, and today I will be presenting you a slide show as a part of my project for Intro to Data Science, in which I will be looking at the first 3 Shrek movies. This presentation has contents regarding acquiring the data, my different analyses using visualization techniques, and a brief conclusion. The main goal of this project is to analyze the data from the 3 movies and make hypotheses about certain trends of the variables. While acquiring the data, I went to imbd.com to scrape the ratings of each Shrek movie using the RVS package in RStudio. The data attained was used to create a data set in which each movie had an overall rating, a rating per age group, and ratings by gender. This resulted in a rather large data set containing plenty of information about the demographics of certain ratings and how many people voted in each category. As my first display, I feel it be appropriate that we look and compare the overall ratings of each Shrek film, and in this graph we see a steady decline throughout the series. A notable observation would be that women tended to rate these films higher than the men on average. A half a star out of 10 more than the men on average, which would be around about 5%. In this slide we see a comparison between vote count and average rating, with Shrek 1 on the rightmost point, Shrek 2 in the middle, and Shrek 3 on the left. We see something interesting happen. At this point, I would suggest my audience to notice the amount of people that voted in each film, and then take note of the overall rating. I think it can be a telling observation and a possible hypothesis, in which the higher the rating, the more people rate online, and I suspect that people are more likely to rate films if they enjoyed them. In this part of the analysis, we will look at a table of the 3 Shrek films, but for both men and women under the age of 18, men being the first and women being the second in each case. The reasoning behind this is that I believe that the target market for this film is primarily for those under the age of 18, and thus these ratings will be a more telling representation of the film's quality and level of enjoyment. A telling observation is that the ratings of these children were overall higher than the adults, which proves that the film was clearly meant to be enjoyed by young people rather than adults. More interesting facts we can see in the table is that there's a clear trend distinguishing between either gender in each case. Both the women here had different opinions about each film. A final notable remark I would like to point out is that significantly more men than women voted in this category, which could also throw off the total ranking, as a disproportionate amount of men and women voted in this category. Possibly this could also mean that this film's target market was rather leaned toward young men rather than young women. And in conclusion, overall we learned that the Shrek franchise had a steady decline over the years. Men were more likely to vote than women, and children voted more generously than adults, for reasons that we can only speculate. In a different life, I feel like this data could be explored and dug into in so many different ways, and plenty of other possible analyses could be conducted on this dataset. Possibly comparing the ratings of each group would have been interesting and would have given a definitive answer to our target market hypothesis. Seeing how many men or women voted could also tie in the target market question. It could also just mean that men tend to go to IMDb and actually go through the effort to vote. Maybe this is different for each age group. And finally, the furthering of the comparison between genders of ratings per age group, but tied in with gender, as this would need some advanced programming and smart analysis. I still believe that finding a way to compare this data in a way that would be telling and would be an important aspect of a possible analysis for this data. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed.